Hello and welcome back. We are here today working on lesson 3.7. We're finally going to start to arrange our fish composition and put it all together today. So before we jump into actually arranging, I did want to remind you that you will have to select two rules of composition that this project will follow. So in Unit 1, we discussed the rules of composition. I'm just going to take a second to jump into Schoology for a moment. I'm going to go to daily lessons here in Schoology. And if you go into daily lessons, the very first item in here is this first finished example of the 1.2, 1.5 rules of composition worksheet. This was the worksheet we completed in Unit 1 that identified 10 possible rules of composition. So I'm going to click on this worksheet. It is there as a reference for you, so you can go and use it at any time. But we're going to look at figuring out some rules that we might want to use for our project. So maybe you want to use the rule of odds, where your total number of object is going to be an odd number. So think about adding up how many fish and seaweed and how groupings and coral groupings and have an odd number in the final end. Maybe you want to follow the rule of simplification, where you eliminate clutter and keep it very clean with very few details. Maybe you're going to use the viewer's path. Maybe you're going to have your fish face inward. You decide. There are 10 rules here for you to pick from. Pick two of those that you can defend here when you finish your artwork. All right, so now that we have that part understood, we're going to use two rules of composition. We're ready to start arranging this project. So let's go ahead and open it up. We're going to click on the File folder. We are going to click on Documents, find our Digital Art folder. I'm going to click on PowerPoint Fish, and I'm going to open up our demo project. From there, we're going to go ahead and start creating or arranging our composition. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select one of my fish here from slide number 1, and I'm going to copy it, Control-C on my keyboard. I'm going to go to slide number 2, our background slide, and I'm going to simply Control-V and paste my fish in. Now that I have the fish here, I can resize the fish. Remember to hold that shift button so he doesn't lose, sorry, the shift button. I was holding something else. He doesn't lose his proportions, so he stays looking nice for you. So I'm going to go ahead and move him here. Now, I don't want to just plop him in on this composition. I do want to pay attention and really think about how to arrange this so he looks integrated. We want to tell a story. We want the artwork to start to communicate. So rather than plop him in on top of that seaweed, maybe I want to think about layering things. So I'm going to click on this seaweed real quickly, and I'm actually going to ungroup it at this point. And I'm going to bring this front, or this piece of seaweed on the right side to the front. Now it looks like my fish is swimming through the seaweed, and it gives it a little more purpose. My coral got pushed behind a little bit, so I'm going to click on it and also bring it back to the front. So I'm creating depth by layering these elements together. All right, now that being said, I am going to copy this fish a little bit more, and I'm going to give him some friends, maybe some relatives because they all look the same, maybe some brothers or sisters, and we're going to just add some more. Now that's kind of boring. They're all kind of the same direction. They're all looking that way. That's okay, and it could be following, facing inward with all of my fish facing in towards the center. So maybe I'll just rotate some and give them some like interest based on their positioning, so they're not all so straight in there. Occasionally you might click on your background and move something, so just know that you need to put that back. If you did, let's see, I'm going to put him low and have him looking up, and maybe I'll put another one behind. So bring to front and then bring to front. Gets a little bit tricky sometimes, so you just have to play around with those layers of different things. And I think he looks silly that way. Okay, so maybe something more like that. So I'm starting to really like that arrangement for those fish. I've got to bring my other fish in here too, so I'm going to grab my purple fish, Control-C to copy, bring it on over, Control-V to paste it in there. He is facing the wrong direction, so I'm just going to go up here to Arrange, down to Rotate, and I'm going to flip him horizontally. Now he's facing a better direction. Maybe he's going to slowly emerge from behind. Oops, hold the shift button so he doesn't get smushed. This rock. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my rock forward. This is going to be a lot of movement, but that's okay. Bring him forward. Click on my seaweed, bring it to the front. And I think that that looks pretty okay with everything else. Maybe the sand, bring it to the front again, and then my coral, bring it to the front. I think I'm okay with the seaweed there behind. So we'll start with that and see how it goes. All right, so maybe I'll have him kind of there. Copy a couple more fish. I do have 4 over here. I have 3 over here. And I don't know, should he be bigger or smaller? All right, so right now I am following the rule of odds. I've got an odd number of things happening. I've got seaweed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 is that other element there. You could count the sand too, 12, 13, it's still odd. So right now I'm still following that rule of odds, so we're in good shape. All right, last fish, I'm going to bring that into the composition. So copy, Control C, come over here, Control V to paste it in. And I'm not really crazy about this fish, so I'm going to make him fairly small. Maybe he's off in the distance swimming there, but we'll make a few friends for him. And we're going to make some of them smaller, some of them a little bit larger, something like so. All right, so I'm really happy with that composition. I've got this big empty space in the middle, so maybe there's no bullseye here. Maybe I'm following that rule as well. The only last thing that I do have to mention is you can add bubbles to your artwork. I suggest that you play around with them a little bit, so I'm going to put in some circles here. And I'm going to try a couple of different things, and then you can pick out what you like. So I've got a blue, basic blue outline bubble there. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to change this one to maybe a gray color in the side, and let's give it a black outline. And I'm going to bump that weight of that outline up just a little bit. This one here, let's go ahead and fill it with some random crazy color like green or purple. And I'm going to make that outline white. And this last one over here, why don't I do a fill with black? And we'll do another white outline. Okay, and I'm going to bump the outline width up just a little bit. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different circles there with 4 different combinations of things happening. After I have those selected, I'm going to go to Shape Effects, and I'm going to go to Bevel, and I'm going to really push these bevels. So I'm going to go again, Shape Effects, Bevel, 3D Options, and I'm going to make these bubbles really super rounded because I want them to look like little sphere bubbles floating in the water or traveling through the water. All right, so I'm happy with the sphere part of that. They don't look like bubbles yet. So don't forget that there's this material option here in the shape effects. I can click on material and you can go down here to the bottom and you can say, I want it to be a translucent powder, which is like a light. Maybe you like that for your bubbles. Or I prefer the second one here, which is a clear. Now look at what it did. The black bubble is not black anymore, but it has a very deep, dark shadow around it. If you like that, fill your bubbles with that dark black color before you apply the three-dimensional bevel and the material choice. Maybe you like a little bit of the color that the purple gives. Maybe you like the white or the gray with that black outline. Honestly, all of that effort, I really like the Windows default blue. I think it gives it just a little bit of something extra. So maybe in this little bit of empty space here, maybe I will put a few of these bubbles. One of those rules of composition is leading the eye. And so by putting a little trail of bubbles here, I'm leading my viewer's eye down into what's more important. So I hope this was helpful for you. As soon as you get your composition laid out and arranged the way you like it, you're going to go ahead and save this as a screenshot. So to do that, I'm going to go to the Windows button. I'm going to go down to the S section in our programs for the snip and sketch tool. I'm going to close that last snip. I'm going to hit New, and then I'm going to select the area here that I want to show as my snip. So that's going to be part of the program and then the entire artwork itself. Don't forget to get that file name at the top and the slides over on the left-hand side. I'm going to save this screenshot by going to Documents, Digital Art, Screenshots, and I'm going to put my number in here. So this is 3.07, and I'm going to say Screenshot. And I'm going to hit Save. So now I have my screenshot saved. I'm also going to put that screenshot into my sketchbook. So I'm going to go into Schoology. I'm going to go back to that daily lessons folder, back into the Studio PowerPoint fish, click on my progress screenshot sketchbook assignment, and I'll click my document right here. I'm going to slide all the way down to the bottom because I'm on my last slide, lesson 3.07, and I'm going to paste my screenshot in there, enlarge this. Now that my sketchbook is complete and I have filled in all of the day's activities and goals, I can now go back to Schoology, and when you return to Schoology, you will then hit the Submit Assignment button. It will be located over in the top right of the Schoology page, and you're going to turn that sketchbook in to be graded. All right, if you have any concerns or questions about this step of the project, please reach out and let me know. If you have concerns about turning in that sketchbook or taking those screenshots daily, let me know as well. Otherwise, folks, enjoy the process.